G'day and welcome to the second video on solving quadratic trinomials or quadratic equations. For the first video we looked at solving quadratic equations with using the cross method or splitting the middle term method. I mean, it doesn't really matter either way. For this one we're going to have a look at completing the square to solve these equations. We've already tried doing the cross method and it didn't work, so now I'm going to complete the square. My assumption is that you already know how to complete the square, or at least you're somewhat familiar with that. If you're not, then you'll need to go and watch the other video on completing the square first, and then come back to watch this one. So I've got x squared plus 6x plus 1, and I'm going to complete the square. Now remember, I need to take half of this middle term here and square it. So I'm going to get x squared, I want black, sorry, x squared plus 6x plus half of 6, 6 over 2 squared minus 6 over 2 squared plus 1. Hopefully that jogs your memory or reminds you of how to complete the square to solve these equations. And eventually I get x squared plus 6x plus 9 minus 9 plus 1 equals 0. This bit here enables me to complete the square. That turns into x plus 3 squared, and then I've got minus 8, which is equal to 0. And then I proceed to go a little bit further and I do x plus 3. I do the difference of two squares at this point. I go x plus 3 plus root 8, x plus 3 minus root 8 is equal to 0. Okay. Now, I think you've done all of that in the past. Now I need to actually solve this equation. I need to use the null factor law, and it's exactly the same as what we were doing before. There's just a little extra component in here. So this one means that it's x plus 3 plus root 8 equals 0, and obviously x plus 3 minus root 8 is equal to 0. So this now becomes, I'm going to get that plus 3 and the plus 8 on the other side, so x equals negative 3 minus root 8, and x equals negative 3 plus root 8. Okay, as you can see, I've just moved these across to the other side so that I've got an x equals. Now, if you have a look at this, I've got x equals negative 3 minus root 8 and negative 3 plus root 8. So in actual fact, I've got this, and you can sometimes the textbooks write this, sometimes other people write this, so they can say negative 3, we've got that, and then we've got a plus and a minus root 8. What I've written down here is exactly the same as what I've written up here with these two. This here is actually two answers. It doesn't matter which one you write. You can write this one and this one together. You have to have both of them. Or you can write this one down here, because that actually covers both of them. It doesn't really matter which one you write, as long as you've got the correct answer, this one or these two together. Okay, because they mean essentially the same thing. So sometimes the textbook might use this, or other places might use this as well. The other thing that I need to talk to you about is a little bit frustrating, because our textbook isn't quite up to it at this stage, but sometimes the answers in the textbook can be a little bit different from what you're going to get. For example, if I look at root 8, or even on your calculator, actually, we'll do this a little bit differently. Root 8 is actually equal to root 4 multiplied by 2. You'll learn about this later on in Maths Plus, I believe. So this is, that's the same as root 4 times root 2, and that is the same as 2 times root 2. And you don't have to have the times in there anymore. Ooh, that's 2 root 2. So sometimes your textbook will actually replace, the root 8 with 2 root 2, or equivalent things like that. It's a little bit frustrating, but what I would do is I'd probably just check your answer with the calculator and see if you've got a similar answer. Okay, so I'm going to do the next couple of questions a little bit quicker, because hopefully you remember completing the square, and it's not too bad for you. So here I'm just going to jump to this step. I'm going to say that's x squared plus 8x plus 8 over 2, which is 4, and then 4 squared is 16. Okay, minus 16 minus 2 equals 0. So that's going to become x plus 4 squared if I just look at these things here, and then that's minus 18 equals 0, and that becomes x plus 4 plus root 18, x plus 4 minus root 18 equals 0. and then I'm going to continue on like I did before. That becomes x, I'll do this properly, x plus 4 plus root 18 equals 0, and x plus 4 minus root 18 equals 0. So I end up getting x equals negative 4 minus root 18, and x equals negative 4 plus root 18. And again, you can write that as x equals negative 4 plus or minus root 18. Okay, so you can have this answer, or you can have these two answers here. Either way is acceptable. And if you do this on your calculator, you're probably going to get x equals negative 4 plus or minus 3 root 2. And the reason you're going to do that is because you'll split 18 up into 9 and 2, and then the square root of 9 is 3. I don't really want to teach you that too much because that's what you're going to learn in Maths Plus, but I just wanted to, I guess, sort of show you a little bit like that. Okay, so that's it for those two questions. I'll do the next two questions in the next video, but hopefully that's helped you to do a little bit of some of the questions in exercise 9.3. So stay tuned for the next one.